All right, beautiful people, welcome back to another amazing and impactful episode of the Truvel Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. Shout out to these t-shirts we rocking today. Ha ha. And of course, as usual, I have with me the beautiful, the smiling, the Black Wall Street shirt wearing, the ring shining, the healthy dancing queen herself. Talk to the people, please.
What's up, party people? My name is Sinclair, aka
Theee.
Okay. And it's here on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. We switch the name sometimes.
No, we dancing it around, keeping it.
But Sunday afternoon, if it's still considered afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Excited to be here. I'm back. Took a little break from the podcast, aka schedules didn't work out, but I'm back.
Yes, you are.
I know y'all missed me.
Yes, they did.
I missed y'all
too. And I want to do I got a few things before we get into week updates. I know we like to get into that, so you can go first on that. But a few things. One, my humble and deepest apology to the folks that were listening to the podcast last week on the actual listening platforms. And I know there was a little bit of audio issues there. It has been fixed. It has been updated. It looks beautiful now. So you all can go back. And it wasn't last week. It was actually for the fashion episode, which was a great episode. Definitely go back and listen to that now that the audio's back. So my apologies for that, but we're back and we're going good.
Back and we're better.
Yeah, much better. Much better. Second, huge shout out as usual to our amazing video production squad. Shout out to Jair and the team who's behind the scenes, doing the editing, making sure we got new music, making sure our transitions are good. So huge shout out to them. Definitely if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment. But yes, shout out to Jair and the production team, much appreciated. So passing it off to the queen, updates for the week, how'd it go? What's the vibes feeling like? Talk to the people. Talk to the people.
Okay. Vibes are good. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I was entering not a slump, like an almost slump, which is like
what was behind that slump, or what put you in a slump?
I don't know what specifically, but one I can say, coming back from any sort of vacation. So we were in Reno last weekend celebrating Nana's 75th birthday.
Shout out. And there were people on the YouTube channel that said happy birthday to Nana last week. So yes,
I'll pass the message along. But yeah, I thought coming back from any sort of trip where you get to get away and I feel like it was a good space to just get your mind off things. We had fun little game nights. We didn't necessarily go out and explore too much, COVID. But we had a nice little family game night, so it was nice to just get your mind off of everything for a second. But then, or getting your mind back on everything, it's always a slump. I feel like the week after vacation is always hard. It's always hard.
It's like, I'm back here.
Yeah, right. Back to reality. Yeah. So I feel like that had a very big part of it, of the reason for the slumpness. But I feel like towards the end of the week, I'm like, all right, we back on it. I feel like I'm revitalized a little bit. Ready to come hard next week.
Oh, hard and
grinded.
Yeah. We also had a really good potluck community meeting this morning, which I think is pouring into your cup, probably pouring into my cup. So there's some good energy there too.
Yep. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. So my week was pretty good. If you haven't seen on Instagram, we got a shout out and a post from the We Buy Black community. So we got a lot of new followers and energy and folks reaching out, just interested in the game, which is always dope. Which is why this week we have the shirts on, because that's where the energy, that's where the vibes are this week. So if y'all haven't gotten it already, go to playblackwallstreet.com. You can get yourself a board game, Tulsa's history of Black Wall Street and teaching financial literacy to families worldwide. Much love. We appreciate the support. And shout out to the folks in Germany, in Canada, in the UK, in Finland. The love is going across the world. And we appreciate it. Like, Finland, Germany. Oh, okay. Shout out. You know what I'm saying? But the episode this week. So we've been going holistic for the past 2 weeks. Last week we talked about the 5 questions to ask your elders. Go back. That was a pretty good one. The one before that was fashion brands and seeing how brands and fashion really play a role in how we feel about ourselves and our own kind of self-love or self-appreciation. But this week we're back talking specifically about health now. All right, we're zooming in a little bit. Talking about health. Queen, can you let the folks know what we're talking about today?
So health is broad. We're talking about physical health, and specifically the effect that eating grains has on your health. So grains meaning breads, pastas, all that delicious fun stuff.
Yes, it is. They are delicious.
They are delicious, but unfortunately our bodies don't always agree that they are the best thing for us to be eating on a regular basis. So are we diving in now?
We are not diving in now. So
great.
Yeah, she come on now. We have to say the patented line, and you can say the line this time.
I forgot we didn't.
You want to say the line?
No, you got it.
Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay, so like the Queen said, we're talking about grains, the effects they have on your body, hopefully talking about some good grains or grain substitutes y'all can work with. But I'm going to pass it off to the Queen to go ahead and get us started. Yeah. Health nerd.
So when you're talking about grains and what most people think of, what I first think of are, like I said, breads, rice, pastas. Like those are kind of, chips, your snacks. These all fall into the category of grains in terms of how they're metabolized in your body. And so kind of the first thing I wanted to touch on is how it actually is affecting your body so that you know what's happening. So first off, if you have ever heard of the itis or, experience the itis. Yes, experience the itis. It's kind of getting into what grains do. Grains, and not only grains, but like refined sugars, refined carbs. So basically, when you eat these grains, your body turns them into glucose, right? Your body, because glucose is what you use to energize yourself.
It's the gas.
It's the gas. So your body is converting it to glucose. There are some grains that are more quickly converted into glucose, which you might think is a good thing, but it's actually not. So when your body when you eat something and your body is like, ooh, thanks. It's like think about like a child that you give a soda to or some candy to, and they are off, right? They get that sugar rush and they are off. Why is that not necessarily a good thing? Because they're gonna have a crash later, which I know sometimes parents use that as a tool.
Strategic.
Like, I'm gonna let them burn out all that energy so that they crash later and I can get some work done later. But for health wise, that's actually not good. You never really want to have a crash like that. That's not good. So what happens when you're eating these types of highly processed and refined grains is your body is eating that, and just like a child with a soda, it's taken off. It's like it converts it to sugar right away. So that's why you get the increase in your blood sugar, the spikes. So you like blood sugar spikes. That's what it means by spiking. It's taking it and it's very quickly converting it into glucose, which isn't good because then you get a crash later. With the more healthier, complex, less refined grains, which means they're closer to its natural state. And you've probably heard this, heard this theme in multiple of these podcasts. Generally, things that are closer to their natural state and how they are created in the earth, how the earth intended it to be, are going to be better for us and are going to be metabolized in and make the nutrients more bioavailable. And all that means is that if you eat let's say you take a vitamin C supplement and it has however many milligrams of vitamin C, your body is not actually able to access all 100% of that vitamin C because and this is a whole nother topic that I won't get into, but if it's made from if you're talking about like a little high C little Hi-C chewy gummy, that's synthetic. It's not actually made from oranges. It's made in a lab. Whereas if you get an orange, that's, you know, and you eat an orange, that's much more bioavailable vitamin C because it's natural. It's from something that your body can actually use.
I find that interesting, and I'll interject really quickly because I know you're on a path, you're on the roll. But I find it interesting because I think some folks, including myself, I used to take like my daily vitamins, and I think, oh, I'm getting 100% of my vitamin C, 100% vitamin E, I'm getting 100% of all these things. I'm good. I can eat junk food for the rest of the day because I got my nutrients.
Right.
So you're telling me that's false.
Look, don't shoot the messenger. But I'm telling you that, yeah, a little tablet that's made in a lab is not nearly going to give you the same results as eating the fresh fruits and vegetables, or a derivative of the fresh fruits and vegetables. But yeah, I'm gonna echo my health mentor Sean Stevenson.
Shout out Sean Stevenson. What's up, man?
Shout out. But the supplement industry is not as regulated as you may think it is, because they're not considered drugs. So they don't necessarily have to follow the same guidelines as like pharmaceutical companies when they're creating these. So that's something to keep in mind when you're buying your supplements. But yes, as I was saying, so there are some grains and some carbs, complex carbs, that are burned a lot slower in your body. So if you would think about, I like metaphors, you know, trying to come up with comparisons. So if you think about, I really had something and I lost it. But basically just something that burns a lot slower. Long story short, rather than having a spike in your blood sugar, you're going to see a more sustained, like if you were to draw it on a graph, like instead of going like shoop, shoop, right? This is a super big spike and then a crash. You're going to see a more like slow burn of whatever the carb is. And that is good. That's what your body, you want to be able to sustain, right? When you eat something, you should have energy for a few hours. It should sustain you, not only your hunger, but you should actually have energy to do what you need to do for a few hours. Whereas can you imagine like Thanksgiving, like we don't eat meat on a regular basis, but on Thanksgiving, you knocked out. Could you imagine if that was every meal, like how unproductive you would be as a person if after every meal you needed to go take a nap? So that's something to keep in mind, right? It's okay to indulge every now and then, but even just for your own, like what you're trying to get done, if you're getting tired every day after every meal, there's probably something like that's not supposed to happen. I feel like we normalize it a lot, especially in the Black community with the itis. You just think that's just a normal thing. You don't necessarily think that this isn't supposed to happen. But it's actually not, right? After you eat, and if you have ever done any type of like cleanse or just really clean eating, you notice the difference, like night and day between a Thanksgiving meal and like some of the recipes that I'll go over at the end of this podcast. So you feel good. I'm like, shoot, I just ate dinner, but I'm ready to go run a mile. Like, what's up? So it's a very big difference from when you eat something that makes you want to sleep. So if you've never tried it, try it. Like if you're like salad, that's not for me, like just give it a try. Just give it a try. Like eating clean for like a day and just see how it feels. You definitely notice a difference. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. That is kind of how the grains affect your body and why you want to go with either, I don't like to say avoid anything, because the minute you say avoid something, that's what your mind wants. So I would say limit or reduce. Be conscious of the amount of refined carbs that you are consuming so that you can have sustained energy, number one. But two, you can also avoid things like diabetes, because again, the spikes up and down in your blood sugar and your glucose levels, those are things that force your body to react to that, right? Your body has to react whenever things happen in your body. So when you get a spike, your body's going to react. When you have a dip, your body's going to react. So the insulin levels are one of those things, especially with glucose levels, that are going to react as a result to whatever your glucose levels are. So your insulin levels are going to rise and fall and rise and fall. That's not good for you. You want to have a relatively sustained, level of insulin and glucose in your body.
Boom. There it is. A warm welcome back. The health nerd back to the podcast. Yes, the crowd goes wild. So a few major takeaways is one, the itis is not normal. And if you feel that, definitely make sure you double check your diet.
And here's the sad thing. The itis is normal. It shouldn't be.
Deep.
So, and that's what I feel like another thing we need to be careful of is saying something like normal in terms of meaning good or bad. Because what we consider normal in society doesn't necessarily mean that it's good or bad.
Right.
Because it is, whatever happens in society is a result of just culture changes, of different shifts, of no fat, low fat, no carbs, like all these different shifts. That's a result of, Lord knows, a whole bunch of different things. But
money, marketing,
not health is what I'm trying to say.
Not health. Speaking of which, another takeaway is that although supplements may say you get 100%, your body may not actually absorb all that 100%. So try to go raw, natural nutrients as often as you can.
And on that point is if you, like let's say you're anemic and you're deficient on your iron, but you're taking iron supplements. That's the perfect example of your body telling you whatever supplements you're taking, it's not actually grasping it. It's not actually able to use it. So rather than, continuing to take it or take some additional medication, just try switching up your source of iron. Maybe it will become more bioavailable to you.
Moringa, ashwagandha, spinach.
So like superfood concentrate powders are a what I prefer to take over a multivitamin because it is closer to, again, the actual source. It is basically moringa, ashwagandha, kale, all of these things that are just gently dried and then turned into a powder. So you're still getting the full form, and it's actually even more powerful. You don't have to eat as much of it because it's concentrated, but they're not extracting any part of it. What the supplements are usually doing is, like, let's say you have an orange, I'm gonna take all the vitamin C out of the orange and then I'm gonna give it to you. But your body may need all of the other things that are in the orange to actually get a hold of that vitamin C. So that's why it's not necessarily good to just extract something out of a fruit or a vegetable. It's best to just eat it in its whole form if you can.